Episode 1. The Magical Guitar. The Secret of the Guitar. In a small village nestled between towering mountains and a vast, windswept desert, music was forbidden. It had been so for as long as anyone could remember. The village elders had decreed that the old songs, the ones sung by the ancestors, were dangerous. No one knew why, but everyone obeyed, except for one little girl named Lina. Lina loved stories. Her grandmother would tell her tales of the old days, when the village would come alive with music every year on the Day of the Spirits. The people would sing, dance, and celebrate the lives of those who had passed. But those days were gone now. Music was a memory, a faint whisper in the wind. One day, while visiting her grandmother's house, Lina discovered something strange in the attic. There, hidden beneath old blankets and dusty trunks, lay a beautiful guitar. It was old, its wood darkened with age, but the strings were still intact. When Lina reached for it, something magical happened. The guitar seemed to hum beneath her fingertips, as if it had a life of its own. She knew, without a doubt, that this guitar was special. It had a history she had to uncover. "Gran," Lina asked, her voice trembling with excitement, "where did this guitar come from?" Her grandmother, who was sewing by the fire, looked up slowly. Her expression was unreadable. For a moment, there was silence, and then she spoke in a voice that was barely above a whisper. "It belonged to your great-grandfather," her grandmother said. "He was a musician, like his father before him. But music became a curse in our village." Lina's heart raced. "A curse?" Her grandmother nodded. "A long time ago, the people of this village would gather on the Day of the Spirits to honor their ancestors. They would play music, sing songs, and share stories. But one year, something went wrong. The spirits became restless. They demanded more. And so, the village elders decided that music was too dangerous. They banned it. But why? What happened?" Lina asked, her voice full of curiosity. Her grandmother's eyes grew distant. "No one knows for sure. Some say the spirits were angry because they were disturbed. Others say it was the power of the music itself that caused the spirits to become restless. But one thing is certain, the music stopped. And when it did, the spirits, they stopped coming." Lina sat in silence, her mind racing. She had always felt the presence of something more in the village, something unseen but ever present. The spirits, her grandmother said. But what if the music could bring them back? What if it could reconnect the village to its lost traditions? "I have to play this guitar," Lina said, her voice filled with determination. "I have to bring the music back." Her grandmother's face softened. "You must be careful, Lina. The music is powerful. It can open doors that are best left closed." The first strum. That night, after her grandmother had gone to bed, Lina couldn't wait any longer. She took the guitar from the attic and brought it into her room. She sat on the floor, holding the guitar in her lap, and took a deep breath. She had no idea what she was doing. She had never played an instrument before, but something about the guitar felt right. She strummed the strings, and to her surprise, a soft melody filled the room. It was as if the guitar was playing itself, guiding her hands, pulling the music out of her. The song was beautiful, sad, and familiar, though she had never heard it before. The melody seemed to carry with it a sense of longing, a sense of history that went back generations. Lina closed her eyes and let the music flow through her, the notes filling the room, filling her heart. She could feel the spirits of her ancestors listening, waiting. But just as suddenly as the music had begun, it stopped. Lina opened her eyes, and the room was eerily quiet. She looked at the guitar, her heart pounding in her chest. Had she just imagined it? Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Lina jumped, quickly hiding the guitar under her blanket. Lina, are you awake? It was Marco, her best friend, always full of energy and curiosity. She quickly stood up and opened the door. What is it, Marco? Marco's eyes were wide with excitement. You won't believe it. There's something happening in the village. People are saying they saw something strange. Lina's heart skipped a beat. What do you mean? Marco stepped closer, lowering his voice. I don't know, but I heard from old Mrs. Vargas that the spirits are coming back. That tonight they might visit us again. Lina's eyes widened. The spirits? Are you sure? Marco nodded. I don't know, but I think it has something to do with you. Maybe you've woken them up. Lina's heart raced. Was it possible? Could the music she had played really have opened the door to the spirits? I need to see this for myself, Lina said, her voice steady despite the fear that was creeping in. Come on, Marco. Let's go. The village square. The village square was quiet when they arrived. The streets were empty, and the lights from the houses flickered dimly in the distance. But as they stood in the middle of the square, Lina could feel something in the air. It was a strange, electric feeling, as if the world was holding its breath. Do you feel that? Marco whispered, looking around nervously. Lina nodded, her heart beating faster with each passing moment. The square, once full of laughter and music, now seemed cold, as if it had been abandoned for years. Suddenly, the air grew warmer, and a soft breeze began to blow. It carried with it the faint sound of a song that Lina knew all too well. The music, she whispered. It's them. They're here. The wind swirled around them, and from the shadows, figures began to emerge. They were translucent, their forms flickering like candle flames in the breeze. Some of them were familiar. Lina could see the faces of her ancestors, their features softened by time. Others were strangers, but they all had the same look in their eyes, longing, peace, and an unspoken connection. Lina felt a tear slide down her cheek as she stepped forward, drawn to the spirits. She didn't feel afraid. Instead, she felt a sense of belonging, a deep connection to the past that she had never fully understood until now. Her grandmother had been right. The music was a bridge, and she had crossed it. Episode 2. The Spirit Story. Uncovering the Past. The first signs of change were subtle, like a whisper carried on the wind. The villagers had seen the spirits, just as Lina and Marco had, but their reactions were mixed. Some were in awe, others fearful. No one spoke of the event aloud, but it was clear that the village had been awakened in a way it hadn't been for generations. The next morning, Lina went to visit her grandmother. Her mind was spinning with questions. The spirits had returned, but why? What had changed? And how did the guitar play into all of this? When she arrived, her grandmother was sitting at the kitchen table, a cup of tea in front of her. Her eyes looked distant, as if she had been waiting for Lina. I knew you'd come, Lina, her grandmother said softly. I've been expecting you. Lina sat down across from her. Gran, the spirits, how is this possible? You said they stopped coming after the music was banned. What happened to bring them back? Her grandmother sighed, her fingers tapping nervously on the edge of her teacup. There's something I haven't told you, Lina. Something I've kept hidden for many years. Lina leaned forward. What is it? Her grandmother took a deep breath before speaking. The spirits didn't just stop coming because of the music. They were banished. Long ago, there was a disagreement between the village elders and the spirit world. The villagers became afraid of the spirits, afraid of their power. They believed that if they didn't control the spirits would control them. So they stopped playing music, stopped celebrating, and eventually, they sealed the gateway to the spirit world. Lina felt a chill run down her spine. The gateway? You mean the music was a gateway? Her grandmother nodded. Yes. The music is more than just sound. It's a bridge between the living and the dead. The Day of the Spirits was once a sacred time when our ancestors would return, not just in memory, but in spirit. Music was the key that opened the door, and when the music stopped, the door was closed. The spirits were forced to leave. Lina's heart ached with the weight of her grandmother's words. But why didn't anyone tell me this before? Why didn't you tell me? Her grandmother's gaze softened. I was afraid, Lina. I feared that if you knew the truth, you would feel the burden of it. The spirits are not something we can control. They are powerful, and their return, it could bring change. Not all of it will be easy. Lina felt a surge of determination. But the spirits are our family, Gran. We can't hide from them anymore. I need to understand. We need to bring the music back. Her grandmother nodded, her face a mixture of pride and sorrow. If you want to bring the music back, you will have to face the past. The spirits will not return until the village is ready to accept them once more. You must gather the people, tell them the truth, and show them that the music can heal, not hurt. The gathering of the villagers. Lina knew what she had to do. She could feel the weight of her grandmother's words in her heart. It wasn't just about the guitar. It was about the village, about the people who had forgotten the importance of their traditions. The next day, Lina stood in the village square, holding the guitar in her hands. Marco stood beside her, his face filled with both excitement and anxiety. They had gathered a small group of villagers, people who were curious, but unsure of what they would see. Lina stepped forward and cleared her throat, her voice trembling but strong. Everyone, I know you've heard the stories. I know you've seen the spirits return. But I want you to understand that it's not the spirits that are dangerous, it's our fear of them. She paused, looking around at the faces of the villagers. For generations, we've hidden from the music, hidden from the spirits. But the music is not a curse. It is a bridge to our past, to our ancestors, to the ones we've lost. If we want the spirits to return, we must open the gate again. We must play the music. Together. There was a murmur of uncertainty in the crowd, but Lina didn't stop. She picked up the guitar and began to play. The soft melody filled the air, the same melody she had played at night when the spirits first returned. It was a song of remembrance, of love, and of hope. At first, the villagers stood still, unsure of what to do. But then, one by one, they began to move closer. They could feel the power of the music, the way it seemed to call out to them. Some of them began to hum along, others clapped their hands in rhythm. As the song reached its peak, something incredible happened. The air seemed to shimmer, and the ground beneath their feet vibrated with energy. From the shadows of the square, the spirits began to appear again, not just as fleeting figures, but as solid, glowing beings. Their faces were calm, serene, as they walked toward the villagers. Lina's heart swelled with emotion. The spirits were here, not as strangers, but as family, as guides. The village was no longer a place of fear. It was a place of connection, of memory, of music. A new beginning. When the music stopped, there was a moment of silence. The villagers stood in awe, the spirits now gathered before them, their eyes filled with peace and understanding. The atmosphere in the square had changed. There was no fear anymore, only the warmth of reunion and the promise of healing. Lina looked at her grandmother, who was standing at the edge of the crowd, her eyes glistening with tears. "Gran," Lina whispered, "I did it." Her grandmother smiled, her heart full of pride. "You didn't just do it, Lina. You brought them all home." Lina turned to the villagers. "The music must continue. We can't let it stop again. The spirits are a part of us, and we are a part of them. Together, we can keep the music alive." The villagers nodded, some wiping tears from their eyes, others holding hands with their loved ones. The fear that had once gripped their hearts was gone, replaced by the warmth of belonging. As Lina looked out at the crowd, she realized that this was only the beginning. There would be more challenges, more obstacles to overcome. But the spirits had returned, and with them, the music had returned. And that was all that mattered. Episode 3. The Last Song. The Final Test. The village had slowly returned to normal, but the air was still thick with change. The spirits had stayed, visiting their living relatives on the Day of the Spirits. The music was now a regular part of village life, but there was a lingering sense that the true challenge had only just begun. Lina stood by the fountain in the village square, her fingers resting gently on the guitar strings. Marco joined her, his face serious. "I've been thinking," Marco said, his voice low. "We've brought back the music, but is it really enough? The village still has its fears. Some people only do it because they're curious or because the spirits are here. They haven't fully accepted what the music really means." Lina nodded. She knew he was right. The villagers might have welcomed the spirits back, but they hadn't truly embraced the power of the music. The connection between the living and the dead had to go deeper. "I think it's time," Lina said quietly. "We need to prove that the music can heal, not just bring the spirits back, but truly restore what was lost." The spirits' request. Later that evening, as the sun set behind the mountains, a familiar spirit appeared to Lina in the square. It was the figure of her great-grandfather, the musician who had once played the guitar. "You've done well, Lina," he said, his voice soft but strong. "The music has returned, and the spirits have come home. But there is one more thing you must do." Lina looked at him, eager to understand. "What is it?" He smiled, though his face was tinged with sadness. "The music is the key to both life and death. But the spirits cannot stay forever. There is a final song, one that must be played to help them cross back into the afterlife. It is the last thing the music can do for them." Lina's heart sank. "But we can't lose them again, can we?" Her great-grandfather shook his head. "No, Lina. The spirits are not lost. But they must leave, so they can rest. The music will guide them." Lina took a deep breath. "Where do I begin?" "Play the song that calls them, the one you've heard in your heart," he said softly. "It is time to say goodbye, but not forever. The music will keep them in our hearts." The final song. Lina walked to the center of the village square, where the spirits were waiting. They had gathered, just as they had on that first night, their faces peaceful and content. Marco stood beside her, his eyes filled with understanding. "Are you ready?" Marco asked quietly. Lina nodded, her heart heavy but resolute. "It's time." She sat down on the stone steps and began to play the guitar. The song that flowed from her was unlike any other. It was the melody she had heard in her dreams, the one that had first called the spirits back. It was gentle and sorrowful, filled with love and finality. It was the song of farewell. As the music filled the square, the spirits began to fade, their figures growing more translucent with each note. Some of them smiled, their faces serene, while others gave one last look at their loved ones. The villagers gathered around, their eyes filled with tears, but also with gratitude. They understood now. The music wasn't just a bridge to the past. It was a way of letting go, a way of honoring those who had come before them. Lina played until the last note lingered in the air, then stopped. The spirits were gone, but their presence remained in the hearts of the villagers. A new beginning. In the days that followed, the village slowly returned to a peaceful rhythm. The spirits would visit again in the future, but now the villagers understood that the music wasn't just about summoning the past. It was about living fully in the present, carrying the memory of their ancestors with them. Lina sat by the fountain, the guitar resting in her lap. Marco joined her, his face calm. "We did it, didn't we?" Marco asked, his voice full of awe. Lina smiled, looking at the village around her. Yes, we brought back the music. And with it, we brought back the love, the memory, and the connection. The spirits will always be with us as long as we keep playing the song.